Hey, welcome back to Seahawk Central Sports. I'm sitting here with sophomore forward Keith Rendelman. Keith, you have made great strides since last season. What'd you do over the offseason to improve your game?
Well, over the summer, one of my main goals was to get stronger. You know, me and Matt understood that we was going to be the only two posts returning from last year, so we understood that we had to get stronger, get in the gym a lot, working on post moves, and it's pretty much what we did all over the summer. Even when school started, we get in there individual workouts and just kept going at it every day.
Yep. Obviously, the team is undersized this year with only 3 guys over 6'7". What did Coach Peterson tell y'all that y'all were going to have to do for your lack of front court depth this season?
I mean, yeah, we was undersized, but we understood that would be a lot quicker than everybody else. You know, we used that to our advantage. You know, even though we only had 3 post guys, you know, we still had a lot of perimeter players, a lot of outside shooters that can, you know, bring the ball up court anytime we need to, take shots, and you know, even some of them, you know, they can get down there and play low post defense with us, but you know, we just try to use it to our advantage. You know, our quickness and speed, agility.
This Friday, you have a big game on the CAA tournament at noon in Richmond, Virginia, versus the Georgia State Panthers. What are the keys to that game, and how are you going to plan on defeating them?
Well, you know, they got a new coach now, so we're not really sure what their strategy is going to be like. But, you know, concerning like the first 2 past games, you know, whenever we ran our offense and got whenever we wanted, that's when we played big and came through. And then whenever we tried doing stuff that we weren't supposed to, you know, that brought us down. So, I mean, basically our game plan is to like get inside, you know, either by penetration or, you know, post touches. So, I mean, you know, we just try to run our offense and get what we want.
Obviously, Ahmad and Chad and Daryl are all graduating this year. You're going to be one of the older classmen. How are you going to step up as a leader next season?
Yeah, them 3 were definitely a big key to us. You know, especially Chad. You know, he's been the main part of the offense ever since he was a freshman. But you know, going into next year, I think it's just not me, but everybody else also understands that they have to step up. You know, we plan on staying over the summer, working out a lot more. You know, improving our own game. Like me personally, I want to try to get like a more all-around game so I can, you know, just not only be a post, but you know, take it off the dribble from the perimeter also, and you know, get stronger wise so I can handle bigger guys than me down low. And then as far as like our other upperclassmen, they understand that they need to get in the gym and work at it too.
Obviously, you have a huge freshman class coming in that Buzz pulled in. 8, I think it is, maybe 7. I talked to one JMU scout, and he said this class is for real. Have you seen any of these guys play, and how are you going to mentor them next season?
I only seen 2 guys play, or like 2 or 3 guys play, and some of the ones I remember was Dylan and Luke. Dylan was like a 6'8", but he's kind of lanky, but he's also post. But he was like a workaholic. You know, he'd get in there, work at it, rebound. Had good post moves, fundamental. Luke, like 6'6", perimeter player. He also can work hard at it. But some of the other ones I got to meet was Nate, All-Ohio team. And as far as the write-up goes, he's a real fundamental shooter type guy. You know, he's like 6'10", about 220 maybe. And but he's more of a shooter, fundamental. He can get down there, post up, and then another guy said, you know, about 6'8", big stocky guy. So, I mean, it's gonna feel good to have, you know, more post players down low, and also have, you know, perimeters that come ready to play.
Quick personal question. I used to play baseball, and I used to model my game after Ken Griffey Jr. Obviously, you play basketball. Who's your favorite NBA player, and who do you model your game after?
You know, my favorite is Michael Jordan, but if you have to go like off of who's still playing today, you know, I like Kobe Bryant. But you know, as I was younger, I always try to base my game off them. You know, doing what they do. Like, I wanted to be that go-to guy. You know, I was always the one where, if we ever needed to score, I call for the ball. You know, if we ever needed to stop, I try to get that stop for the team. You know, but as far as game-wise, like low posts and stuff, I say I play like a little more like Kevin Garnett. You know, he can step out there, shoot it. He also has a good amount of post moves too.
Coach Peterson is his first year. What did he come in and install on this team during his first season?
Well, you know, he came in, you know, introduced us to a whole new game as of what we was going to do. You know, like on defense last year we was full out denial, whereas this year was support and then also help defense. Offensive wise, he's more of a get it in type guy, you know, not just shoot, but I mean, he also likes to get it in more, like get into posts or penetrate more. And then him and his assistants, you know, they just brought a whole new game to us, and I really enjoyed playing for them this year.
It's awesome. What was your most memorable moment of the season?
Most memorable, let's see.
For me, it was Trevor's shot against Georgia State here at Trask. That was an excellent game.
That was
buzzer
actually
beater.
That was actually a pretty good game. That game, I actually scored my highest for that season so far, and going into that game. So actually, that was a good game. But I mean, as far as memorable, I would say like playing against bigger teams like Ohio State and Florida. I mean, just their atmosphere was very memorable.
One last question. You were a star wide receiver in high school. How did you make your decision to play basketball in college, not football?
That was a really tough choice. They, you know, I had football. Football-wise, everybody was coming at me, and then basketball. But basketball-wise, I just, you know, grew up playing it more. I had a more interest for it. And when I came to my recruit here, I liked what I saw. Like, coaches treated me good. Teammates seemed like, you know, they take care of you real well. So I mean, you know, even though I was kind of better at football, I enjoyed basketball more.
All right, Keith. Well, thank you for joining us. Seahawk Central Sports will be right back. Hey, welcome back to Seahawk Central Sports. Ben and I are going to debate some crucial sports topics for the upcoming week. Let's start off first with the women's basketball team. The team was picked to finish 8th in the CAA preseason poll, but have surprised a lot of people with their season's performance. So, Ben, how would you grade Coach Cynthia Cooper-Dyke's first season?
I got to give her an A. You look at the records, they're 22-6 this season. They were 12-19 overall last year. 14-3 in conference this year. 6-12 a year ago. That is that's a 180-degree turnaround, because 360 degrees would put them back to where they started. They only had 3 returning starters this year. Coach Cynthia Cooper-Dyke has coached Alicia Andrews into a star. She's had 5 Rookie of the Week awards. It's amazing.
I completely agree. Alicia Andrews is the key. If we didn't have her, I don't think we would even have 15 wins. I don't know. That could be pushing it, though, because Brittany Blackwell and Martha White have stepped up their games. Huge. They've been huge this year. I think both are going to get first or second team CAA. Alicia Andrews might get first team CAA. She's been incredible. And also stepping up is junior Kristen Hanser. She's been their leading scorer in a lot of the games in the past couple games.
Has had a good season. Treasure Johnson has had some clutch three-pointers in the overtime win a few weeks back. They're still in the hunt for the CAA title. They're third right now, a game back in the conference. There's some tricks that would have to happen, including them winning and the other 2 teams ahead of them, Old Dominion and James Madison losing. Yep. Do you see them winning the conference in the regular season or the tournament?
That's tough. I mean, they definitely can get to the semifinals, but if they get to the finals, I'm not sure if they can pull it out, maybe. But she definitely has the program turned around.
Very true. Now on to men's basketball. As we said earlier, Buzz and the boys will be going to Richmond this weekend for the CAA tournament. The consensus is that they will beat Georgia State in a close noon tournament tip-off game. But, Danny, how far do you think they can and will go?
I'll give them a first-round win, and they're done. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. I love the Seahawk men's basketball team, but George Mason is ranked number 25th in the nation, led by Cam Long and Andre Cornelius, and I don't think they have any shot of beating that team. I talked to Brian Mole, and he told me that this George Mason team could be more talented than the one that made the run in 2006 Final Four. And that is saying something. And I know Georgia State, we only beat by 3 on a Trevor Deloach buzzer here, and then we lost in overtime there. Yep. So it's not like we dominated them. It was a very close game. And so it's gonna be a close game. They fired their coach, so they're gonna be kind of hyped for this game.
Good point.
So it's gonna be very close. They might get by the first round, but that's as far as I'm giving them.
I will definitely take what Brian Mull has to say. For those who don't know, he is the beat writer for the Seahawks for the Star News, the Wilmington paper. The CAA is an excellent conference. They're in the top 10 overall. 6 21 teams for the first time in the history of the CAA. George Mason, ODU, Hofstra, VCU, Drexel, James Madison all have 21s this year. Only 4 teams get a bye. We have a conference that has 2 20-win teams that do not get a first-round bye. What is this, the Big East?
That's true. I think at least if Hofstra, VCU, or James Madison win, we'll have 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. Because I think ODU and George Mason are already in.
You think they're locks?
They're locks.
I don't like VCU because they're 12-6 in conference. They've had some bad losses. And
That's if I'm saying if they win the CAA title.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying ODU and George Mason are in the tournament right now, even if they lose. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Switching from the mid-majors to majors, this Saturday night on prime time, one of the biggest rivalries in sports will reconvene. The number 4 Duke Blue Devils, my Dukies, will travel across Tobacco Road to the Dean Dome to take on the number 13 ranked UNC Tar Heels with the regular season ACC championship on the line. Ben, who you got?
Who do you think I got? 10 wins in their last 11 games. John Henson beasting down low, 7 blocks versus Maryland, 6 versus North Carolina State, averaging 9.5 rebounds this season. Harrison Barnes, I don't know if you watched the State-Carolina game, 2 crucial putback dunks late to beat North Carolina State. Kyrie Irving, even if he returns, he's still a question mark. Duke, they don't have the athleticism at the 3, 4, or even 5 positions to beat Carolina. Tar Heels at home. Let's go.
It will be a close game, but Duke has much more experience than the Tar Heels. They have maybe 3 former champions of the NCAA. They have Nolan Smith, who, in my opinion, is in the top 3, could be player of the year, maybe Jimmer Fredette, maybe Jared Sullinger. Those are the only 2 players that have played better than him this year. And Kyle Singler, who's been on a slump, if he steps his game up, I don't know what to tell you. He's already averaging 17 and 6.5. But the key for me for Duke is Kyle Singler versus Harrison Barnes, because last time they played, he went 3 for 17, and Harrison Barnes completely shut him down. The only reason they won that game was Seth Curry and Nolan Smith were tremendous. And the key for UNC, for me, is the front court, as you said, John Henson and Tyler Zeller. If they can outman the Plumlee boys, then I think UNC will take it home.
So you think Coach K is going to keep Singler at the 3? I expect him to move Singler to the 4 to guard Henson, and I expect him to get demolished. But he can't play with Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes will
start both
past him every time. Okay, we'll see that. We'll see. It's going to be a great game. It's the best rivalry in North Carolina in the Southeast.
Maybe in the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely in college basketball.
Yeah.
But now let's move on to some professional basketball. Last week, Charlotte Bobcats owner Michael Jordan pulled the trigger on 2 deadline deals at the trade deadline. Jordan shipped Nazi Muhammad to Oklahoma City for DJ White and Morris Peterson. MJ also sent star forward and the only All-Star in Charlotte Bobcats history, Gerald Wallace, to Portland in exchange for Dante Cunningham, Joel Prisbilla, Sean Marks, and 2 future first-round picks along with cash. What are your thoughts on these deals?
Honestly, for the short term, I hate it because it makes our team worse this season. But in the long term, I love it. We're not going to win the East this year. There's the Heat, there's the Celtics, there's the new-look Knicks,
That's right.
There's the Magic. The Hawks are pretty good too. There's so many teams, so depth. With Gerald Wallace and Steven Jackson as our leaders, we were not going to get past the second round in the NBA Finals. And they got
the first round, honestly.
Yeah, probably not. They got 2 first-round picks, one this year from the Hornets, and then they got theirs, so they'll have 2 top 25, top 20 picks. But they need to draft better. Their recent draft history has been awful. But they also got the big points are they got Mo Peterson and Joel Prisbilla, 2 expiring contracts, so that's $12 million off the books for next year. They already traded Chandler for Dampier, that's $10 million. So they are $25 million under the cap for next year. That's huge. So they can sign a marquee free agent maybe in 2012, maybe Chris Paul.
That's a very interesting thought. I didn't have a chance to talk at all, so I'm going to go past the buzzer. I like them getting the 2 future first-rounders, as you say. Gerald Henderson is playing amazing at the 2. Keep him there, but you have to move Steven Jackson over to the 3. No question he has the toughness to play the 3, but does he have the size to match up with the Ron Artest, with the LeBron? That's a big question mark. Paul George is emerging as in the starting 5 for Indiana. He's a viable 3 option in the team that we will be fighting for the 8th spot. You made a lot of great points, and the one that I didn't even think of, Chris Paul, in a few years, because he's the only big-name free agent that would come to North Carolina after Jordan tried to woo Melo. And
he's part of the Jordan franchise. So
okay.
Just saying something. He's on the jump man.
Okay.
But so is Gerald Wallace, and look where that got him.
I'll tell you, Portland loves Gerald Wallace. I watched the game the other night. I think
they
played against Atlanta with Heinrich, and those fans, they were just reinvigorated. And they've had such a bad history of big men that are just becoming crippled, from Brisbilla to Odin. Go down the line, but we got to move on.
Yeah. All right, it's some football. This past weekend was the 2011 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. The Combine is held every year where the best college football players perform physical, and mental tests in front of NFL GMs, coaches, and scouts. However, these measurables don't always translate to on-field success. Do you think too much stock is put into combine numbers? And who were you impressed with this past week?
Yes, too much stock is put into combine numbers. The bench press and the high jump, I think those are the best of all of the combine practices. They separate the contenders from pretenders. Other than that, it's a waste of time and it's media fodder, which is what we're doing right now. Chris Johnson's the only star who has raised his stock because of his 40. That said, we're talking quarterbacks.
There's other people too. Vernon Davis, freak. 4.38. He got drafted 7th overall by the 49ers. He was not even in the first round before that. And then he just went out there and manned out. But there are players like Vernon Golston. He got drafted 6th overall.
By the Jets. I remember
He's
that.
awful. Hasn't done anything. There's Darius
good.
Hayward Bay, who ran the fastest 40, has pretty much done nothing. Was drafted over Crabtree, Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin was a Pro Bowler. And
Hayward Bay, his selection, he went to Maryland, I think that hurts Torrey Smith this year. We'll see.
Yeah. And there are players, Terrell Suggs, Anquan Bolden, and Aaron Rodgers, they both dropped down because they had poor combine showings, but they're all all-stars, and Aaron Rodgers is the Super Bowl MVP. But the person that impressed me the most was Stephen Paya from Oregon State. This man repped 225 pounds 49 times. That is absolutely insane. 49 times. I can barely get it once, twice, if that. And that is a man right there. I think he is going to be a good NFL player just because of that strength.
Very nice. To the next topic. Lastly, quarterbacks are always the talk of the draft. This year, the consensus top 3 quarterbacks are, in order, Cam Newton of Auburn, Blaine Gabbert of Missouri, and Jake Locker of Washington. However, Ryan Mallett has also been projected highly. If you were a GM, a general manager, which one of these players would you want as your signal caller?
Well, I'll let you start off first because I know who I want, but I'll let you start off first.
Okay, I like Mallett the best as far as arm strength and athleticism, but he's the least clutch of all of them. Can I take Andrew Luck? Can I take Tim Tebow?
No. Here's where I'm going. My Panthers had the first overall pick. You're a Panthers fan as well. So I'm not buying Blaine Gabbert. He had 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year. Yes, he could be good down the road, but he played in a spread offense just as Cam Newton did. And Cam Newton put up tremendous numbers as he won the Heisman. And then there's Ryan Mallett. He's the guy who played in the pro system per se. But then again, Jimmy Clausen played in a pro system, and look what he did last year. He was awful. And I think the first pick last year, Sam Bradford, played in a spread system, correct?
Correct.
He did.
And he was injured the year before.
Yeah, and look what he did. So I think the Panthers should draft Cam Newton with the number 1 pick because he is a freak of an athlete. He is, I can't even.
Do you like him as a person, though? Do you think he passed the mental test? Do you think he was having a mental block when he went 11 for 21 at the Combine?
I mean, I don't know. I heard
he was abrasive to questions that coaches asked him. However, let's look at the numbers. 2,854 yards passing compared to Gabbert's 3,100. 66% completion percentage, higher than Gabbert's 63. 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but
20 rushing touchdowns as well.
Okay, that is a great stat that I didn't know, but let me tell you another stat that a lot of people don't know. Cam Newton was sacked 23 times last year. And the Panthers do not have an offensive line.
They are getting back Otah, and they're getting back Khalil's coming back.
Otah is a question mark.
Yeah, he is a question mark. But I think that Cam Newton is more Ben Roethlisberger than Vince Young.
Okay, Mike Wilbon.
That's what I think.
Colin Cowherd jumping on the Newton equals Roethlisberger bandwagon. Newton is Vince Young. He's Vince Young, but he's a smarter Vince Young because he's gotten away with the things, the crimes he's committed. That's how I feel. If Vince Young had got caught stealing computers at Florida, he would have admitted it. That's the difference.
I don't know about that. Vince Young is not as physically gifted as Cam Newton is. Do
you remember when he came out of Texas?
Yeah, I remember. He's faster, but he's definitely not stronger. Nowhere near the arm strength.
Yeah, he's not as tall and he doesn't have the arm strength. Okay, you're right about that. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. We would like to thank Keith Rindelman for stopping by. Also, special thanks to Joe Browning, Dustin Miller, and the Communication Studies Department.
We will be back in 2 weeks with more footage, more news, and more analysis. Have a great week, and check us out online at youtube.com/TLTV2010.
And remember to make it out to the games to support our Seahawks.
See you later, Seahawks.
Sayonara, Seahawks.